Welcome, you are in the lab room. I'm your host, Lou. Thank you for joining me. Week number 17, National Football League. We're at the finish line. Everyone can see the finish line. Regular season finale, week 17, Buffalo Bills at the New England Patriots, AFC East, family business. What happens in the family stays in the family. You know how this goes. It's family business all across the board in the National Football League. Each team playing a divisional foe to wrap up the season, and this was no different. Bills on the road against the Patriots. They started the season playing the New England Patriots. They finished this season playing the New England Patriots. And so for the Patriots, really simple. Win, and you are no worse than the number 2 seed in the AFC. Win, and you couple that with a Denver Broncos loss. Not going to happen. They're playing the Oakland Raiders. But you can't worry about them. Win, and if they lose, you're the number 1 seed. So a lot at stake here. You lose this game, Cincinnati wins. Cincinnati takes number 2 seed from you. You come down, and you got to play in wild card weekend. You don't want any part of that. You don't want any part of the wild card weekend action. You'll pass on that and wait for divisional round weekend to get started. So if you're the Patriots, you got to win this game. This isn't an option. You don't win this game or go out and have a lackluster effort, allow the Bills to come in and do to you what they did to the Dolphins a week ago and beat you in this game and make you play in wild card weekend. Because if you do that, the AFC is so wide open that if you play in wild card weekend, you run the risk of not making it to the divisional round of the postseason. So this is imperative. You need home field advantage. You don't want to go to Cincinnati. You've been there before. It didn't end well for you. You don't want to go to Cincinnati. You don't want to go on the road if you're the Patriots. Make everybody come to you, and if you got to go somewhere on the road, let it be in the championship game against the Denver Broncos, a team you've already beaten this season. So you got to win and make sure you solidify your seeding in the AFC playoffs. If you're the Buffalo Bills, you just want to finish this season on a high note. You've won 2 straight, looking to finish this season off on a 3-game winning streak. You went to Jacksonville a couple of weeks ago, beat them, snapped their winning streak. You go home, you beat Miami, and nobody really gave you a chance in that game. I did. I said that you were going to win that game because I felt like you're a dangerous team. I told everyone. Let me backtrack, okay? I didn't say you were going to win the game. I said I didn't want to be the team that went to Buffalo late in the season and had to get a win against that team at home, against that defense. They're a dangerous team when they play at home. That's what I said. And I said I thought the Dolphins could lose, but I also, in the same breath, thought they could beat you. You went out and you took care of business. You shut them out. You dominated that football game. So now you go on the road and you feel like, hey, I did it to them. Why can't I do it to the next best team in this division, the New England Patriots? Your arch nemesis, a team that is a thorn in your side. You can't seem to beat these guys. You play them tough all the time, but can never seem to get over that hump. See how this game shakes out. 6-9 Buffalo at 11-4 New England. Patriots get 3 on opening drive after a fumble on 3rd down by Shane Vereen is recovered. They salvage the drive. 13 plays, 52 yards, 3 points. Patriots take a 3-0 lead. I want to stop here for a second. The reason why I charted the plays and the yardage is because without Rob Gronkowski, with a banged-up Aaron Dobson, you're going to lack explosiveness in this offense. And 13 plays, 52 yards screams nickel and dime, screams West Coast offense. That screams we're struggling to get chunk plays. We got to nickel and dime. We got to work hard for everything we're getting. And with no Gronkowski wasn't catching 70-yard touchdowns, but what he did was he made defenses concentrate on him, and he still got chunk plays. He still was getting 25-yard gains, 34-yard gains, 42-yard gains. He was still going to get the occasional chunk play, but he drew attention to him that opened up things for Amendola, that opened up things for Edelman, that's going to open up things for Dobson and company. Now, everything's compacted. I'm not afraid of anybody on this offense. You're going to have to work hard, and even when you work hard, you still get a field goal. So it's going to come a lot harder to the Patriots without Rob Gronkowski. That's the effect, the residual effect that you see from his injury. Although the Bills lose 13 yards on third down. It was a sloppy play on third down. Thad Lewis is under pressure. He's getting chased. He tries to switch the ball from his inside hand where the defender is to his outside hand. It's a wet, nasty day in Foxborough. I mean, the rain is coming down in buckets, and it's not letting up. Ball slips out of his hand. He goes to pick it up. He bobbles it. He kicks it. He finally gets it out of bounds about 13 yards later, and you go from the 20 all the way back to the 33-yard line on third and about 7. And so all of a sudden it's 3rd and 20 or 4th and 20. But they still trot Dan Carpenter into the game, and he hammers home a 51-yarder in the rain. So very impressive by Dan Carpenter. And that young fella that the Bills have as a kicker, he's going to have to challenge Carpenter for that job next season. Be interesting to see if the Bills retain Carpenter or give that young guy that they drafted a season ago a chance to win that job back. Pats move the ball down the field again and again have to settle for a field goal. This is something that if they're going to make noise in the postseason, those field goals going to have to turn into touchdowns. But again, it's okay early in the game. You just want to get something, but you can't make it a habit of kicking field goals. You got to score touchdowns. You know the mantra. Not going to say it, but you know the motto. LeGarrette Blount rips off a 36-yard touchdown scamper that caps off a 7-play, 94-yard touchdown drive. It's Pats lead 13-3. That's more along the lines of what I'm expecting from this offense. 7 plays, 94 yards. That's chunk plays, including a 36-yard touchdown scamper by LeGarrette Blount. That was a sign of things to come. At this point, we didn't know he was going to have a career day, but that run right there was a sign of things to come from LeGarrette Blount. And 7 plays, 94 yards, that's the kind of rhythm and offensive flow you're looking for if you're the Patriots. You really want to get up and down. You really want to threaten teams vertically and do some things. To me, right now, your biggest threat on the offensive side of football, of course, after Tom Brady. And I don't want to discount Julian Edelman, his first 100-catch season, first 1,000-yard receiving season. Don't want to discount him. I don't want to discount Danny Amendola, but I'm afraid of Shane Vereen out of the backfield. That's who scares me the most. Because on 3rd and 4, Shane Vereen can get 5. On 3rd and 7, Shane Vereen can get 9. On 3rd and 11, Shane Vereen can catch a 22-yard touchdown pass. That's the guy that scares me right now in this offense. And Edelman can get you in a number of ways. He's also a threat that you have to look out for. But these guys that I'm mentioning, they're not guys that are going to necessarily stretch the field. And so it's refreshing to see a 7-play, 94-yard drive. Of course, 36 yards of that coming on the LeGarrette Blount touchdown run. It's 13-3, New England up in this game. And at this point, I'm thinking they're going to run away with this game. Bills aren't going to put up much resistance. It's wet. It's New England. They're in Foxborough. I just don't see the Bills being able to put up that much of a fight in this football game. Bills move the ball down the field, and it was on the shoulders of FredEx. And I asked a couple of weeks ago, almost a month and a half ago, does FredEx still deliver on Sundays? Last week, I got my answer, over 100 yards against Miami. He was dominant in that game. And on the shoulders of FredEx in this game, and especially on this drive, Bills go for it on 4th down. They don't convert, however. But he got them down the field into Patriots territory to make it a situation where you would even entertain going for it. They go for it on 4th and 1, and they don't get it. And I didn't like the play call. I didn't like the execution. They went for a quarterback sneak. Thad Lewis. I just didn't like the way the play looked. It just looked funky. With Fred Jackson, C.J. Spiller and company, even Frank Summers, with all those guys in the mix, I just feel more comfortable handing the football off. A lot of times, I'm a proponent of a quarterback sneak when it's inches, because why do you want to turn around and hand it off, 5 yards in the backfield when all you need is inches? But this was a full yard. I'd feel much better handing the ball to Fred Jackson and letting him bulldoze his way forward and getting a yard. They don't get it, and Patriots take over on downs. Patriots add a late first-half field goal to go into the halftime break at 16-3. Again, that just reinforced that they're not going to be in this game, or the Bills. This is going to be a runaway victory for the Patriots. They're going to lock up the number 2 seed in the AFC playoffs. And then Thad Lewis wakes up. He hooks up with T.J. Graham for a touchdown pass. It's 16-10. And if there's one thing that Thad Lewis does well, is he throws a beautiful deep ball. Hits T.J. Graham on a deep ball, sets up the potential, touchdown that he completed to him a little bit later on that possession. And he put pressure on the defense with his legs, made the defender come up and choose between guarding T.J. Graham or coming up and trying to tackle Thad Lewis. He chose the latter. Lewis made him pay by hitting T.J. Graham, gets in the end zone at 16-10. Patriots still on top. Ensuing kickoff, and this was the problem with the Bills. Every time they got a little bit of momentum in this game, they couldn't sustain it because they gave up some sort of big play. And you get the touchdown. You haven't scored a touchdown all game. You haven't been this close since the game was tied up at 3. And you're down 6. And you kick the football off. And on the ensuing kickoff, LeGarrette Blount goes off for a 90-yard return. And on this return, I kind of took a step back and said, damn, is he really that fast? Like, I don't expect LeGarrette Blount to move that quickly. But he was moving on that kickoff return. I mean, guys had angles, and they could not catch him for 90 yards. And so he earned some respect in that regard. He can run, he can move, he can pick him up and put him down. And that kickoff return was going to yield the Patriots a field goal. They couldn't do anything with it. They couldn't get it in the end zone. They were going to have to settle for a Stephen Gostkowski field goal attempt. And this is what happens when you're a 6-9 football team and you make mistakes. And this is why the Bills can't beat the Patriots, because they make too many mistakes. Marcel Darius jumps offsides on 4th and 3, which we all know the rules. Offside penalty, 5 yards. That's an automatic first down for the Patriots. After you mark off the 5 yards, it was 4th and 3. After the penalty, Brady finds Vereen. They hook up for a touchdown. That's a 4-point swing. It's a 4-point difference. You go from giving up a field goal in 3 to giving up a 7. Hard to bounce back from that when you're already on the road. It's a nasty day, inclement weather. It's slippery. It's wet. It's the Patriots. You struggle with those guys. It's Foxborough. You need all the help you can get. You can't afford to give up a touchdown when they were only going to get a field goal. So that extends this lead out to 24-10 because the Patriots ultimately went for 2 after scoring that touchdown, and they get it with Julian Edelman wide open in the end zone. It's 24-10. So not only did you give up a touchdown instead of a field goal, you gave up 8 points, a touchdown and a 2-point conversion instead of a field goal. Belichick really stuck it to you after you decided to make that mistake if you are the Bills. So it's 24-10 now. Fred X continues to deliver. First, a big catch and run. He was huge through the air. He was huge on the ground in this game. He catches the football across the middle, takes off running. About 30 yards later, they finally catch up to him. He caps off the drive with a 6-yard touchdown run. So he finishes what he started as Fred Jackson continues to be a thorn in the side of the New England Patriots. So they cut this lead to 24-17. So maybe I was wrong because I thought they were going away. At 16-3 at the half, I thought this game was over. And at 24-10, I thought this game was over again. And Fred Jackson and this Bills team would not relent. They wouldn't give up. They wouldn't give in. And it's now 24-17. But they could not stop LeGarrette Blount on this day. And that was the difference in this game. The Bills' inability to stop LeGarrette Blount, whether it be on the ground, on offense, whether it be on special teams, on kickoff return. This guy was a menace on this Sunday. LeGarrette Blount, on the ensuing kickoff, and again, I talked about the Bills' inability to kind of capsule any kind of momentum and use it moving forward. They get a score or they get a stop and they do something wrong. You get a stop defensively, force them to kick a field goal, offsides. They get a touchdown, they go for 2, they get it. You score a touchdown, you cut it back to a touchdown score, and before you could even kind of bottle up a little bit of that momentum, LeGarrette Blount, 65-yard kickoff return, sets up another field goal for the Patriots. It's 27-17 at this point. So just when you thought it was safe to come out and maybe have a chance to tie this game up, you give up another score, this time a field goal. LeGarrette Blount responsible for it again. It's 27-17. And at this point, I really feel like the game's over. There's no way the Bills are scoring 28 points to beat the Patriots in this game. It's just not happening. I think they're done at this point. And T.J. Graham drops the ball on fourth down to really hammer that point home. And so this game was over for me at this point. But then Brady throws the football to Shane Vereen. He bobbles it, and opportunistically enough, Manny Lawson is there on the scene, is able to snatch that football away, picks it off. Bills get the football back, so they're not dead quite yet. So you look at that interception and you say, okay, well, they still need 2 scores. Are they going to get on the scoreboard? They move the ball down the field, they get in the field goal range, and they get a field goal. So now it's 27-20. They need a stop. They have to get the football back. They try an onside kick. They do not recover. Patriots get the football back. And wouldn't you know it, a fitting end to this game. LeGarrette Blount takes off to the races again for another touchdown. He was the difference maker in this game as he continues his career day, running off for another touchdown, and that sealed it. That made it 34-20 at that point. Bills were done. The game was over. Game, set, match. Patriots seal up the number 2 seed, 34-20. Bills gave it a valiant effort. They never gave in. It was a wet, nasty day. They hung in as long as they could, but LeGarrette Blount was just too much for them on this day. 334 all-purpose yards in this game for LeGarrette Blount. He was just masterful. 165 on kickoff returns, another 189 on the ground. He shredded the Bills single-handedly, and the Patriots sealed up their number 2 seed. The Broncos won handily in Oakland, and so the Patriots are your 2 seed. They get the first round bye, much needed, as they win this game 34-20. They go to 12-4 in the season. Bills drop to 6-10. I thought it was a great first campaign for Doug Marrone and this Bills team. The only question I have toward the end of the season is, what is E.J. Manuel? He didn't play enough. He got injured too often. Is this a sign of things to come? Is this a guy that's going to stay banged up, or is he going to be able to stay healthy? Is he the franchise guy? You got a lot of questions there, but other than that, I thought it was a nice campaign. I like the way this defense is playing. I absolutely love your defensive coordinator. And I feel like he has that Bills defense playing at an extremely high level. And so if you can continue to build on the defensive side of football and you find out what you have offensively, because you got targets, you got Stevie Johnson. I like Robert Woods. I really am enamored with Marquise Goodwin. I think he's a better receiver than I gave him credit for. He can catch the football. He can make some things happen. We know the speed. We know all the things that he brings to the table. T.J. Graham, he's starting to emerge, make some things happen in his role on this offense. Scott Chandler, solid tight end. You know what you have at the running back position. So I think this offense is evolving. You just need that quarterback to make it go. Is E.J. Manuel that guy? That's the question you got to ask. For the Patriots, first round bye, great job of sealing that up. And you'll see who you have to play in the divisional round of the postseason. It's a waiting game now, but you did your part. You won. You got that first round bye. Great job. Another successful regular season by this Patriots team. 13 consecutive winning seasons. Unmatched, and no one's even close in the league to that mark. This Patriots team continues to do it year in, year out. And I'll continue to say it. As long as Brady and Belichick are together, hard for me to go against this Patriots football team. I always want to count them out, but then I always am reminded that it's Brady, it's Belichick. They're winners. That's what they do. And so it's going to be a heck of a postseason. Patriots are in it, and they're in it to win it. We'll see what happens. But that's going to do it for this installment of In the Lab Room. I thank you for joining me. What happens in the National Football League, whether big or small, we cover it all here in the Lab Room. Thank you for joining me. I got plenty more games to break down in week number 17. So come back as I wrap up the season finale in week number 17 in the National Football League.